Class is in session, and man, is it good to say that again. It's hitting the books here on Pub Sports Radio, Season 3. And we're happy to be here. Ian Cameron and my right wing, my line mate, if you will, to use a hockey term. We've done shows on this channel now for years. We're back. It's Conor Mack, and yours truly back again for another season. C-Mac, it's college football season. It's back, and that's a very good thing for all of us.
It is. I'm such a big baseball guy, and but man, this summer they always feel long. Maybe it's because we're back to normal sports, like scheduled. You know, we've had these last couple of years with COVID, so it just felt like a long summer. But I'm just glad, yeah, football is back. College football, third season hitting the books. I'm pumped, man. Week 0 is not great, and I think there's some good games. I don't know how much of value here. I know you'll probably be firing off, my guy.
Shocker.
But I hope we'll get through these 7 games that we have and kind of tear them apart here and see if we can get some winners.
Absolutely. We got 7 games for week 0 coming up this Saturday, and we will break them all down for you right here, hitting the books. And we'll be here each and every Monday throughout the college football season, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific time. All right, let's go to Ohio and San Diego State now. A very interesting MAC versus Mountain West matchup here. We've got San Diego State. Actually, they were 3-point favorites, now down to 2.5. So Ohio money, it just continues to roll in here. San Diego State 2.5-point favorites, 49 being the total in this game. This is actually one of the first week 0 bets I made about a couple of weeks ago, or not more than that. It was about a month ago. Because I got Ohio at plus 4.5. It was quite some time ago. But I said, I like Ohio. They're going to be one of the best teams in the MAC again this year. Curtis Rourke looks like he's a go, by the way, for this game. And that's significant.
That's all I needed to know. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's also explaining why there's probably more money pouring in, because it sure looks to me that the concern was after getting injured last year, CJ Harris had to take over at the quarterback spot, that Curtis Rourke's healthy. He's been in fall camp. Remember, he had that ACL tear last November. But he's been in camp for a while now. It was just a question of would he be named the starting quarterback, and he will. And look, Nathan Rourke was outstanding at Ohio, and Nathan Rourke was incredible last year in the CFL with the BC Lions, and now we're seeing him light it up albeit preseason right now with the Jacksonville Jaguars in the NFL. Hell of a quarterback. There's people that think Curtis Rourke is every bit as good and might even be better, than Nathan Rourke, his older brother, who also played here. These Canadian, they're both Canadian. It's a Canadian quarterback brotherhood here. The Rourkes, Nathan and
they call it Maple Missile. Is that what they call it?
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, I love it. C-Mac, great name. Love it. Maple Missile. I think we're gonna have to go with that here for both of them, to be quite honest, Rourke. Nathan and Curtis. But no, look, the numbers last year were sick before he got injured last year for Curtis Rourke. 3,200 passing yards. How about this ratio, TD to INT? 25 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Is that any good? I'd say so. So obviously he's got all the tools, right? Throw it, run it, dual threat. But I think his arm, to be honest with you, Nathan was more of a run-heavy quarterback when he played at Ohio. Curtis, I think, is more of a guy that's got that cannon arm at his disposal here for Ohio. Obviously, they should be fine with him at quarterback. And when you look at the rest of this Ohio Bobcats team, what's funny is last year I didn't think Ohio was going to be that great because Frank Solich retired. He had some changes that were taking place with the program, but they definitely proved me wrong because Ohio had a very good season overall, got to the MAC championship game before losing to Toledo. And remember, they had to play CJ Harris at quarterback in that MAC championship game against Toledo due to injury last year. But you look at Ohio, I think there's a lot to like. They're going to be very dynamic on the offensive side of the football, which is really good to see. The question is going to be defensively. And I think when you look at Ohio and the potential that they do have on the defensive side of the football for improvement, that's going to be good for them. I think they're definitely going to be able to I think they're going to struggle against some really good, offenses. And last year they had their issues on the defensive side of the football. Make no mistake about it. But I think when you look at this team, they're going to be able to they're going to improve defensively, first of all. And second of all, they're going to be able to shut down or at least neutralize some less potent, less explosive offenses that they end up facing on their schedule. And I am confident in saying that I'm willing to put San Diego State's offense in that category of lesser explosive offenses. And part of the reason why I liked Ohio plus the points, and I would still go that way, even though the number's not as good, is because I just don't like what I'm seeing out of San Diego State program-wise right now. Rocky Long, every year when he coached this team years ago, they were always one of the better programs in the Mountain West. And I didn't like the Brady Hoke hire the moment it happened. And Brady Hoke, slowly but surely, you've seen this program just slip back and step back year after year after year. And I no longer consider San Diego State like a true, behemoth now in the Mountain West, compared to where they've been in the past. They're going to go back to Jalen Maiden, it looks like, at quarterback, who had his, I guess you could say, maiden voyage last year at the quarterback spot, his first year for this team. And they tried to show some more explosiveness, and they've always been just so predictable. Run the football. It's, easy to defend. It's predictable. They've basically been running their offense like it's still in the 1980s, this San Diego State program. They tried to get some more explosiveness with Jalen Maiden last year, and he's a good athlete. He can run with it a little bit. He's got some athleticism, and he's got good size, but his arm is just all over the map. I mean, he's just missing wide open throws just way too many times last year from what I saw. His accuracy in the pocket is going to really have to improve, if he's going to take that step as a passing quarterback here for this San Diego State team coming into the season. But I see an Ohio team that's going to be really good. I see a San Diego State team that, they've taken their steps back, as a program here these last few years. And I think you put the combination of those two together, and I think this is a very live underdog, and it's a very winnable football game for, I think, what will end up being a very good Ohio Bobcats team with a healthy Curtis Rourke. Sam Wiglusz, the receivers, back. You look at on the defensive side of the football where the issues were last year for Ohio, that's really where they had their problems, was stopping teams. But there's a lot to like in terms of what they're going to bring back here as far as the defensive side of the football coming into this season. So there's definitely a lot to like. They've got great tight ends too. Will Kaczmarek, Tyler Foster. The run game, is always going to be pretty strong. The offensive line's really good once again coming into this season as well for Ohio. So there's a lot to like. And the offense is going to be able to really, really do some significant things this year on that side of the ball. They have a ton of experience in the secondary. That helps. On the defensive line coming into this season, I think they're going to be improved and up front there, and a better ability to take away the run, because that was the better part of that defense, a defense that wasn't great last year, but the strength of it was stopping the run. And I'll tell you this right now, that's always the blueprint to success, play San Diego State. You stop their run, you stop San Diego State. You stop them from running the football, you're going to stop them from doing anything really on offense. So I think it's a team that can go in there and win. I certainly liked it a lot at plus 4.5. It's down to 2.5 now. I still like it. I think I like it enough to still bet it, even if you didn't get the best of the number. I think they're very capable of winning this football game, Ohio, in their season opener. What do you think here, C-Mac? Ohio, San Diego State.
Do you have anything on the total?
You're going to get a lot of running from Ohio. I know San Diego State wants to throw it a bit more this year, but I'm going to need to see them actually live up to what they're saying before I believe it, because year in and year out, I see the same shit from this team. Too predictable. Run on first down, run on second down, and you're behind the chains, and you get nothing accomplished. I mean, we've seen that far too much from the Aztecs here over the years. This is definitely one where I could see it being under potentially in this game, 49.5. But keep in mind, too, with the San Diego State team, this defense wasn't as good. We remember this team for being such a good defensive football team for years. That was not the case.
More overs.
Yes, and last year we saw them kind of transition and start to go over the total, especially when Maiden took over at quarterback. So I think it's a really tricky total. I lean under, but it's not at all a total I'm probably betting here. I'm sticking to just the side.
Yeah, I think it's tricky, too. It seems like, though, Ohio, if they're in this, and that's what I want, is because I just want Curtis Rourke here, and I think he's all a go. He'll be healed up because I think he can move it on them. I just don't know if it gets over, because one problem with Ohio. And by the way, cash cow for me last year. I'm sure you too, but man, I mean, they were like 9-1, something like that down the stretch. ATS. Even after you got hurt, Harris, was okay.
Yeah, they were still cashing some tickets and covering point spreads with Harris after.
Even with Harris in there. But yeah, they were very, very good. I worry about their defense because even just a San Diego State team that I think is very average, middle of the road, I think can score points on Ohio in this game. And I think it'll be close. I thought the points, over the field goal were good to have because I see this one down to the wire. In the end, I want the better quarterback. San Diego State, though, I did watch some of their spring game. Nate, he looked pretty good. The lefty, he can run around. They have some weapons. They seem to reload. I just didn't like the hire too with Hook. They seem like a 6-6 team this year. The defense that you talked about has slipped a little bit, and I think Rourke could take advantage of that. And I think this game's close. I think you got to go Ohio or pass in a close one. Years past, you just got to look at it. They've always owned, kind of MAC teams, San Diego State. But like you talked about, this, a little bit, they've slipped the last couple of years. And what do we get week 0? A little bit slower, feel each other out. Teams are all right. Is tackling is always a big issue in some of these games, with these teams. So that's another one too. That may be waiting to get some of these games live to bet, a little bit week 0. Because we'll be watching basically all of them. It's not like we're missing. Because once after this week, they're all over, multiple games at every time slot.
Yeah, it'll be. Can Jalen Maiden improve as a passer? We know he's got athleticism, mobility. And by the way, San Diego State does have a new offensive coordinator. It's a guy that played there at quarterback years and years ago. Ryan Lindley, remember that name? Yeah, mm-hmm. Ryan Lindley is the new offensive coordinator for San Diego State. And he was the guy that was saying they do want to try to at least put the ball in the air more than they have in recent years. That's the mission statement, if you will, from Lindley. But again, are we going to, first of all, is this guy accurate enough to make it work? That's my biggest concern about, trying to throw the ball more. I agree with it. You can't just be 1980s thinking anymore. I know this was always been a run first team on offense for years, but you just can't run it on first down, run it on second down, and be that predictable anymore and expect to be a successful offense in 2023. You just can't do it that way. Yeah. So I applaud that they want to try to be a little bit more vertical and balance out at least a little bit more of the run to pass ratio on this team offensively. But again, do they have the quarterback as far as accuracy is concerned, to make it work?